So good morning. My name is Terry Elisi Maselli, president of the HIA-LI. We're here this morning with Shintu Patel. He's the CEO of Amneal Pharmaceuticals for our first, at least of 2012, CEO Roundtable Series. He is going to really discuss with the group of CEOs and decision makers what Amneal is all about, how it started, and specifically, I think the thing we're most proud of as Amneal as a member is they've just been awarded a considerable amount of money through the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council to create and grow his business, and that's what this economy needs. So I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about that, Shintu, the process you're in of, adding jobs to what you do, and I know you have some new products and services as well.
Absolutely. Sure. Thank you, Terry. HIA is doing a great job, and we are a great supporter of HIA. Well, Amneal is the 7th largest generic pharmaceutical company in the United States. It was started back in 2002-2003 by myself and my family. It was just a dream and a vision, and it has really grown into a substantial business. We have about 1,100 employees in US and 400 employees outside the US. We are the fastest generic company in the last 2 years. We just won a very prestigious award from Ernst & Young National Entrepreneur of the Year Award in Life Science category. That was a great honor. And all this is because of fantastic people and the group of guys that's working day in and out. In Long Island is our hub, it's our home. This is where we are really growing our business, and as you already mentioned before, that we have a very large expansion planned out in our Brookhaven facility. That's at 50 Horse Block Road. That would be able to create about 400 new jobs once the project is completed. That's in about 2014. The whole project is a very big project, one of the biggest in the area. It's about 400,000 square feet extra addition, and it would make one of the biggest pharma plant in the entire state of New York. The project itself will also create a lot of construction jobs for the local economy, and it's a great thing. For going forward, it will enable Amneal to bring out a lot more products in a different dosage forms. And it's a win-win for everybody. It's about $50–60 million project, and we are very proud to do that right here in United States. We are 100% making all the product and still being competitive in this tough economy. So it's a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Help us welcome up the CEO of Amneal Pharmaceuticals, Shintu Patel. Have fun.
So by education, I'm a pharmacist. I graduated from Rutgers back in 1994. Spent 5 great years at Rutgers, learned a lot, and then worked as a simple pharmacy manager at Eckerd drugstores for 8 years. Came to this country about 25 years ago when I was 15 years old. And my first job was in a candy store in New York City, where I made about $3.35 an hour. And that was also a great experience, what I learned there. And back then, I couldn't communicate properly in English because I knew how to write, but I couldn't speak when I was 15. So that job taught me how to speak English. So everything we do in life has a value. I explored New York City at the age of 15, and that was the fantastic experience. Amneal is a family-owned, so my brother is totally involved. He's the president of the company. My dad is a backbone. He's kind of semi-retired, but cannot thank him enough. I'm happily married, my wonderful wife, and I have 2 daughters, young, 9 and 12, and my wife has a lot to do with where I am today, so I really have to thank her for the success of Amneal and the entire family, my parents and my brother and everybody. But as a pharmacist, you don't have a background. So I had no industry background. I have no clue what the pharmaceutical industry is about. Because as a pharmacist, I knew what the drugs were about, what the drugs are used for. But I did not know how to make the drugs. I had no money either. I was a regular middle-class family. I only had a $75,000 savings. But when I talked to people that I wanted to do something, they all laughed at me. And they said, oh, come on, you don't know what you are doing. We are the expert. There were many other companies and groups. So against all odds, to make the story, I can go on and on, but to make against all the odds, I met so many people in the industry, and they all told me you need millions, because if you don't know, the pharmaceutical industry is one of the industry where investments are very, very high. And the period to get your ROI, return on your investment, is very long. It takes about 3 to 4 years to get one product approved and put it back into the market. So you are stuck with your investment, and it's take about $1 million to do one product. But I didn't know any of those things. So I always say that when you don't know something, it's the blessings. Like if you don't know how deep is the water, you're going to jump in and try to swim and float. So that's what I did. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Seriously, to be put it frankly in a blunt way, I had no clue. So I just get in there. But I knew that one great thing was I knew that I could, once I'm in there, I could make things happen. So that's where Amneal started. In our business, vertical integration is key because supply chain, controlling your supply chain is #1 criteria in our business, because it's not that we can switch on and off our suppliers, especially in pharma industry. Once we qualify a supplier, you are married to that supplier. So if that supplier has something wrong, your business is in jeopardy. You cannot go and get a raw material for somebody else. It's a process which takes many, many years, and many company has gotten into a lot of problems and issues because of that. So we went ahead and built our own API plant, and we are trying to become as much fully vertically integrated as much possible. The last thing is very important. How do you now, as the company is growing, myself and my brother always discuss and decided that the one thing we don't want to lose is our culture, our sense of family values, who we are. And I always believe that discipline is not coming to work every day 9 o'clock, but discipline of your thoughts, who you are, your fundamental beliefs should never change. Doesn't matter if you're a 100 people company or you're a 1,000 people company or a 2,000 people company. For us, that strong sense of family values, of one group working for one mission, that's uniqueness, same, people, everybody's accounted for, everybody has a role to play. That's very important, and successfully we are able to give that message to all of our employees, because end of the day, they are the owners of the company. Without them, it's not possible. So that was very, very important that we wanted to keep that going, doesn't matter the size of the company. And same time, when we do that, we could provide the best customer service to our customers and also take care of our suppliers. This is something, what we did about 3-4 years ago, and then we revised it, but we got together and we had our own employees come up with our mission, our vision, and our guiding principles. It's not done by any consultants. It's not done by somebody putting nice words together. It was done by 30-40 employees together, and then about a year and a half ago, about 100 people give their input. It's their words, what they believe. So certain things are very, very important. Always the first one is very important, is think, decide, and act like owners. We are the only company which has taken care of its people in even equity form, which is not normal in a privately held company. Respect and care for every individual. Can you go back, please? Alicia, can you go back? Respect and care for every individual. I always tell my people that people on the floor are as important as the VPs. Your janitor is as important as your VPs. And not in words, but genuinely you have to love and respect. End of the day, we all are human beings. And when you respect and love that person, many people just need a pat on their back in the morning, or nice smile with a good morning, or be there when they have trouble. And that's very important. That's when we do that, they all become part of the system. We always believe that we have to provide the resources to people to perform their full potential. We have to have fun and celebrate the success. And very important, work with honor, trust, and integrity. We are in pharma business. Honesty, integrity is very important. That comes right from the top all the way to the bottom. We are FDA governed, and FDA is very strict body. I personally, of this company, has attended 22 FDA inspections, including one we completed last week in our Patterson, New Jersey. So we take quality, honesty, and integrity, everything very, very seriously. It's one of our highest, #1 goal. What we do is every year, myself and my brother, we come out with 5 goals, and number 1 goal is always quality and compliance. That's always been the case. And number 2 is always health and wellness of people. We are a company which is pushing people to be healthy, eat good food, exercise, get rid of your bad habits, help and treat each other, because quality of life is very important than the quantity. And then in 2005, as you know, this business requires tons of money, tons of money. It's not a small chump change. We realized that either I and my family, my brother, my dad, we sat down and we talked about it. Either we can be a small company and just grow organically, and it was a big decision, and be, you know, $20–30 million in revenue and just do small things. We could be, and you know, be 100% own the company. But that's no fun. So I and my brother talked about it, and we decided that it's time to get an investor on board. But I made it very clear to my brother that the one thing I don't like is the VC, term VC. I didn't even know what they do, but I heard, and I said, I don't want any venture capitalists coming in, because, again, that fundamental discipline in my thoughts of keeping the strong sense of family values would be lost, because VCs has a very short-term goal of coming in and out and flipping the companies. Many people know that, and I didn't want to do that. So I and my brother talked, and we said, look, only way is we have to look for a family, friends type of investor who really wants to diversify and wants to do something new, and who's going to be with us not 10 years, 15 or 20 years. And so we lo and behold, we found somebody through my brother's contacts. His ex-partner knew somebody in California, and he joined, and he's like a brother now. Our entire board is 3 people, myself, my brother, and Mr. Tushar Patel. He's the investor. We've been honored with so many top industry awards within last 18 months. We just won in December Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. That was a very prestigious award in a life science category for the national award. And a lot of key individuals were there, including George Bush, our ex-president, was there. Jay Leno was the host. Was wonderful, was a very funny guy. But it was a great honor, and next week they have invited all the ex-entrepreneurs to go to Washington, D.C. and visit the White House and Capitol Hill and talk to some senators, and that is being organized by E&Y next week. So it's a really great thing. This is my birthplace. This is, I never forget. And see the sentimental values. I could have shut down this plant 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I do not want those people to lose their jobs, because this is where I started. It's hurting our bottom line. Seriously, it is hurting our bottom line. Our cost of manufacturing here is high because it's not, you know, that economical to operate. But I'm forgetting that dollar. I'm looking at the people who were there with me in 2003 sweeping the floors. I'm never ever going to forget them. So that's why we are keeping that plant. Our success is, it's a family-owned business. I already mentioned that it's very small. It's not a bureaucratic process. It's not a corporation. It's a nicely family-owned, operated business. Same times, we do things, you know, in a proper professional manner, but we have that feeling. The decision-making is very fast sometimes. We avoid any rate tape, and a lot of people getting involved. We never take people for granted. It's all about people. I've been saying that our success is because of the fantastic 1,000 employees that is working day in and out. Without them, we cannot be where we are today. It all boils down to them and getting the message and connecting. I call it a human touch. And even at this point, back in 2004-05, people used to tell, you know, and people like to advise each other. That's human nature. Free advice, okay, no money. So they say, oh, when you grow, you know, it's all easy to talk. You cannot possibly do that. But we have proven them wrong. Today's date, I was just telling Terry before, that the 2003 Chintu is same Chintu today in 2011. Whether it's my lifestyle, yeah, I can afford a big home. Yes, I love to have a home, but my fundamental values, my beliefs, my care, and my love for people and connectivity with people hasn't gone. I still go on the floor, I connect with people, I love my employees, I love my operators, and I always say I love my bottom level people more than my VPs. I get tough with my VPs. But when it comes to my operators, I love them because they are very important. We forget that. A lot of CEOs and companies surround themselves with 10 people all day long. And they get into this cubby hole and this thought process where they are seeing the company through their eyes. I don't want to do that. I want to see the companies through 1,000 people's eye. I want to see it be by myself. I want to go and see and feel what it likes to be. What are their problems? What are their concerns? I want to stay connected with those people. And successfully so far I have managed. And we'll continue to do that. We always focus on collaboration and cooperation, and that's not only with the customers. We supply to all big 7 customers. These like Walgreens, CVS, they all are our customers. But we also take care of our vendors, because without our suppliers, we cannot exist. So it's the entire supply chain collaboration is very, very important. You cannot treat somebody bad. Anybody, I always tell people, anybody walking into Amneal, you do the business is secondary, but respect and love for that individual, even somebody coming out, filling out an application, must be treated fairly. You cannot ignore, you cannot have people waiting for 1 hour, 2 hours because they are just there for a job. They always tell in the industry that Amneal is a bunch of nice guys. We are fantastic. They go out. They really genuinely care about customers' concerns. And we are known as a bunch of nice guys. Even if somebody calls, I don't think that I'm a CEO, so it's not my problem. I'll let the team handle. I'll get into it. Why customer order is not there? Let's work on it. And we really get their concerns and we try to address them. And they can see everybody's smart. They can realize and feel when somebody is just faking things or when somebody is genuinely, passionately have that commitment to live by their words. That's very important. First, the company last 10 years, luckily knock on wood, we stayed out of compliance trouble all the time, because even we had a successful FD inspection, we don't sit back. Personally, I don't sit back. I became even more hyper, saying that, hey, they are coming tomorrow. Let's make sure. So they're always on lookout. So that productive paranoia, I call it, is helped us to create and that worry and that fear into action. So that's why we were always at edge of having always compliant 100% in all factors. A lot of companies, at least 5 companies were shut down, big size companies in the last 5 years. Company like Ranbaxy just recently paid $600 million fine. Apotex was shut down for 2 years, a company with a revenue of $2 billion. J&J, look at J&J, look at just recently Novartis, these brand companies. But for them, $1 billion fine doesn't matter because they are doing 40 billion. But for us, we cannot afford that. So I always wanted to make sure that the 2 things, the business in generic is already there. I don't have to go and create market. We are not there to create markets. We are there to supply the product and bring out the products. Markets are already pre-existing. So what are the important things? Is the cost, that I can supply in time, control the cost, and stay out of the compliance problem. It is all simple logic and common sense. But people take things a lot of for granted. And when you take things for granted, you become complacent. And that message then trickles down, and people start only looking at the numbers, and they forget the bigger picture. So that's what is being avoided for us. And these are the few things that's made us very successful, even the downturn. That few other companies' problem gave us the blessing, and we were able to react and supply products where there was a shortage in the market. And then the customer saw that, and they stayed loyal with us. So with that, guys, it's been a wonderful journey. We support HIA. Thank you, Terry. Terry and the group always do a fantastic job. And we like to help and support the new upcoming entrepreneurs. I still remember my good days when I was 31 years. I had no idea. You know, it's funny is I had no idea what the S corporation was back then, or C corporation, or LLC. I'm like, whatever, you know, just name it. Let's start. You know, I just wanted to start something. But it's you learn, and as long as learning is a continuous process. And I'm still every day. I'm a student. I learn from my people. I have much more smarter people than myself. So, long way to go. It's just the beginning. We are here to stay for a long time. We continue to do good work. We have good intentions. And when we have a good intention and good work, end of the day, nature takes care of everything. So thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions.
In the next couple of years, you will write a bestseller on how to work with people and making people your biggest profit.
Yes.
And I think that's, and the dealings I've had with your company, everything you say, you do. I think most of us would be very interested in starting a company. I started my own, and I know what it was like the first couple of years. Is how did you secure the financing in the first 2 years to start the company and get to the point where eventually you reach critical mass?
That's a great question. The first 2 years, right, as I said, I had other two partners, the two other pharmacists, and we all were working people. So total we came up with $200,000, and what we did along the way then, mortgaged everything. I mortgaged my home, so did my partners, went out to small friends and family, borrowed from them. So it was a continuous process. Every Friday, I was scrambling to make the payroll. I've never missed a payroll, but every Friday, opened up as many credit cards as possible, reached the limit, and to today's date, again goes back to people. Joe, the people, I had wonderful people. I still remember, and it sometimes brings tears in my eyes, that they would come to me and ask, can we deposit the paycheck? They would hold it for 2 months. They would hold it for 2-3 months, and they would come and ask, can we deposit this paycheck? When they see me upset or down, they would come and ask. In our culture, they call Chintu bhai. Chintu bhai, do you need money? We can give you $20,000. So that's what we did the first 2 years, where it was a group effort. Everybody knew. Nobody demanded extra salaries or raises. Nobody was after money. They all wanted to see us succeed. And that's why it all boils down to my wonderful people.
I think it's awesome that you've put so much emphasis on culture and the value of the people. But I think you have also mentioned that you've been acquiring different companies throughout to actually, put the missing puzzles. How did you actually, enforce the value and the culture to your acquired companies? Because as you make through acquisitions, that whole implementation is such a bigger part where different companies go in their own ways and they have their own values, which could potentially, increase conflicts and other things. So it would be interesting to hear how you kind of tackle that and how you were able to integrate better so that eventually led to success.
Right. Again, a great question. Yes, integrations are always tough. And especially when you go out and try to integrate. When we bought Interfarm, they had 375 employees. We had 120 people. But again, that point that I said before, the people are smart. They know when they are talking to, whether you are faking or you are genuinely giving your values and culture. What we did was we had put our own people, certain key people in operations and in quality and all that, that worked very hard to bring and to translate that message about what Amneal is all about. And the people in a previous companies were already frustrated. So when they saw that this is a caring company, they really mean well for people. And when you connect at the floor level, that's why I say it's very important for me, and that's what I also personally did, is to connect to that floor level people and sharing everything with them. They were not working in silos or in dark. When you have open communication, when you make them part of the process, when you treat them like family, and that communication, continuous communication, they were able to understand what Amneal is all about. And then the results, right? After that, when they saw the results in 2009 and 10, 11, they got completely sold that this is the way to do the things. If the results were not there, maybe they might have debated. So I think the results, the genuine care for people, and getting the message in a very simplistic form to the people, what Amneal and what our values and culture is about, not complicating. No red tape. I mean, even today's date, when people have to come to my office, they don't need to go through secretary. I mean, I'm an open door. A lot of people just walk in all the time. Nancy walks in all day long. All right, thank you all.